Hi everyone, I recently joined my first metal band and I had my first tour experience, which was a dream come true for me. So I had a couple of gigs with the band already, but we had a chance to go on a world tour of Western Canada. Okay, so it was only a mini tour, but it was still a big deal for me, and we drove nearly 3,000 kilometers in total. So I wanted to share my experiences and what I learnt, the things that were great and the challenges. I'll talk about the great bands that we played with, such as Bellecourt and Tribunal, and also share some of the beautiful sights we saw along the way. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Tom, thank you for checking out this video. So I've been a musician most of my life, and I was in a couple of bands back when I lived in the UK, but that was over 10 years ago. So in 2020, I started doing reaction videos, which is a huge thing for me in this channel, and I learned so much. I've always liked metal, but I feel like this really got me into a much deeper level. I learned so much from the comments and suggestions that people made, kind of guiding me on a journey, and it only inspired me more and more to make music. Now, I released a couple of little videos and I still have my own solo projects which I intend to carry on, but I felt like I wanted to be part of a band. I wanted to actually play live, have the opportunity to play gigs. So I came across this posting for a bassist slash vocalist for a melodeath band here in Vancouver, and I was very excited about that. Now, although bass isn't my primary instrument, I am more of a guitarist, I thought this could still be a great experience. So the band is called Kayas, and it's a 4-piece melodeath group. Now the word Kayas is a Cree First Nations word that means a long, long time ago. I checked out the video for Reflections in the Water and I really loved it, and I knew I would love to be a part of this band. So I auditioned for them and it was a great fit immediately. Really, really cool people. We've got the same sense of humor, the same taste in music. So it was really just a great match, and I really felt at home very quickly in this band. I really enjoyed getting to know these guys and playing every week. And then an opportunity came up for us to do a mini tour. Now Jess is also the guitarist for the gothic doom band Tribunal. Now they've been doing a lot of touring of North America this summer, and they decided to have us along for a few of the Western Canada dates. So Jess would be doing double duty each of these nights, which is absolutely crazy, and then saving the biggest gig for last, which was supporting Bellecourt at the Rickshaw here in Vancouver. Now while this is just a mini tour, it was still a big deal for me, and that final gig at the end was something really exciting for us to build towards. So sit back and enjoy this journey with us. I hope you find this interesting. Perhaps you're thinking of joining a band or starting a band and you want to know what it's like to be on tour as an independent artist. Hopefully this will give you some insight into that. And if not, I hope you just enjoy this and see what I've been up to and enjoy the scenery that I'm going to show as well, because we're going to be driving through one of the most beautiful places in the world. So let's get into it. So the tour started off with a very red, ominous sun. We have a lot of forest fires here at this time, so yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a bad omen or just extremely metal. Basically, we made our way straight to the island. You can see we just about caught the ferry there. Beautiful ride over, gorgeous scenery as you're coming in. Victoria itself is a very lovely little town, lovely vibe, a bit more laid back. So this is the Phoenix in Victoria. It was interesting coming into the venue. It had a very, very small stage. It was a cool place, the staff were very nice. I've never seen a coin-operated breathalyzer before, but I guess that is a very responsible thing to have. Now joining us for the first 2 legs of this tour were Empress, also from Vancouver, and they're an awesome ambient post-metal band. I really, really enjoyed their stuff. They had an amazing dynamics, incredible sound that was quite hypnotic, and then when they would go into the heavy stuff, it would really hit you hard. Also, absolutely lovely guys, brilliant to tour with them and spend some time with them on these first 2 shows on the island. You can see how packed the venue was. It was a pretty good turnout for this one. The stage was so small, it was really only big enough for the drum kit. Everyone else had to be on the floor, so yeah, it was kind of, visibility wasn't great, and it was sweltering hot in there. I was sweating so much. But I have to say, it was a cool vibe, Now here we are playing. You can see there was quite a few guys really feeling it at the front. So excuse the weird angles. Obviously when we're on stage, most of the camera angles I've got are from behind, but I tried to add in some of the Instagram videos that we were tagged in just so you can get a bit more of an idea of the vibe there. So yeah, very up close and personal, intimate you could say. But this was a really cool way to start the show. And yeah, the Victoria crowd were wicked. There definitely was a lot of them that came for Tribunal. I think they have quite a big fan base there. So yeah, it's great that you get to benefit from that when you're supporting another band. And then we had Tribunal, who absolutely kicked ass on this set. I mean, they kicked ass every night. It's really, really spooky, cool atmosphere. They're all great musicians, but all of them are excellent, and here's them trying to fit into a car. I should say, for legal reasons, they did not actually drive this car. There was no real breaking of the law.
All right. This is legal. Don't worry.
We are Tribunal, and this is obeying the law.
Right, there was a mess up with our accommodation, and our place we were going to stay in could not happen, so we just drove 50 kilometers. It's 2 a.m. The boys have got a hotel room, but someone's got to stay with all the expensive gear, and that's me. So here's my bed for tonight. Wish me luck. So yes, the first night I had the joy of experiencing the van sleep, which I'm sure many people that have toured in bands have been through before. It's something that is just a necessity when you're driving a van full of expensive gear. You can't really leave it around. It wasn't the worst, but it's still, yeah, it's a little weird. But I guess it's maybe part of my initiation. But yeah, it's very interesting dealing with the logistics of backlining. You know, you have to decide with bands. You want to try and be as efficient as possible, so share as many things as you can, things like cabs or parts of the kit. So yes, there's the backlining aspect. In this case, we were the only band that had the van, so we also had to carry some of their stuff, and it was quite the game of Tetris to fit everything inside. You just got to be ready to do a lot and wear a lot of hats when you're an independent band that is touring. Now, another thing that was exciting for me was I don't really drive much. I've hardly had any driving experience, but we had to share the driving duties, and it was great fun for me to finally have a good long drive. So the band were kind enough to entrust their lives with me, which may be stupid, but no one died. I had a good time driving, and yeah, my first drive there was to Nanaimo. It's only a short drive away, but yeah, Nanaimo is a very cool town. Beautiful views down by the seafront, a really cool vibe there. We watched some people crabbing. We learnt about invasive species, and then we found these ambient drums in a park. Toys for drummers. Blast beat, yeah.
Blast beats.
So yeah, we made our way to the terminal, which is a fairly large and cool pub. I very much like the vibe there. Much bigger stage than the last night, and it's kind of right at the corner, so yeah, there's a lot of visibility this time round. So I feel like I got to enjoy the other bands a bit more because I could actually see them, and Emperor's kicked ass again. I really enjoyed their set. Now, with a lot of these clips I show, it kind of looks like there's no one there. This was a quieter gig, but I promise you there's a lot more people than it may appear. I noticed a lot of the time people just want to sit at the back and quietly observe. And that was definitely the theme for Nanaimo. As you'll find as you go to different towns, there are different vibes. Nanaimo is a quieter island town. So yeah, there was not any moshing, not that many people. It was fairly quiet, and I was like, oh, God, do they not like us? But actually, so many people came up to us afterwards and were really kind and gave us great feedback. It just shows it's just a different vibe. The people there preferred to just sit back, enjoy themselves, and then we were extremely kind and hospitable afterwards. So it's interesting to compare the reactions and crowds from town to town. So after Tribunal kicked ass again and wrapped up that show, we had a quick stopover. So the next day was probably the longest day of driving. We set off about 7 a.m. For Calgary. We had somewhere to stay, thankfully. And we didn't get there till about 9 p.m. It was a bloody long day. We had a few delays and probably could have been more efficient with our time. I wasn't even dreading it because I know how beautiful the drive is, and it really is stunning. It's great to see how much the landscape changes in Canada. I think when you're on the west coast, it's a bit more green and lush. As you make your way to the interior, it's slightly more yellow and desert-like, especially if you go to like the Okanagan region. And then you hit the Rocky Mountains in eastern BC and Alberta, and they're just jaw-dropping. I mean, these shots don't do justice to the scale of them. They're incredible to drive through. I also had some more fun driving experience here. Did about 3 hours. We were all taking turns to kind of share the load because it is a bloody far away, so you can't really have one person doing it all. But yeah, we kept things pretty balanced in that way. We were listening to good tunes and having a real laugh the whole time. And you can see how red the moon is just before we get to Calgary, again from the smoke. And we were lucky enough to have an extremely hospitable host, and I had this badass black kitty to keep me company.
That's one fucking nice kitty right there.
Now, despite living in Canada for a while, this was my first time in Calgary, and I have to say I really liked it. A lot of people move to Vancouver from Calgary and speak ill of the place. But I really thought it was cool. So we checked out this place called Sloth Records, and they had an awesome selection of rock and metal vinyls. I went with the Nightwish Once legendary album.
So exciting. I'm so excited about this packaging. This packaging is so cool.
But yeah, we had a little drive around, and again, I really enjoyed the vibe there. I would say one thing when you're touring is you sort of see a place and it's cool to say like, oh, I ticked it off, I've been there, but you don't really have time to visit it properly. So yeah, I guess I didn't see much of the city or meet that many people because it's kind of just, you go there, maybe you have a few hours if you're lucky, and then you got to get to the venue and start packing and getting ready. So yeah, you never really get much of a chance to stop, but it's kind of all part of the fun. So this is Vern's, a very cool basement venue. Lots of symbols that have been signed by bands on the wall. Now the local band opening up for us were Drifter Colony, and I really enjoyed their set. They incorporated a very old school prog sound, but also had some modern elements, and the singer was great. She had sort of operatic moments as well, so there was a lot of cool elements to their show, and they were super nice as well, so definitely check them out. There was a pretty good turnout here in Calgary, as you can see, and yeah, it was pretty rowdy. People were really into it, so this was definitely one of the best crowds we had on the tour. Now, something that happened during this set is we were asked to play longer. Now this can sometimes happen when you've got a venue owner or a promoter. They want to make as much money as possible. As you can imagine, they want the show to often go late so people spend more money on drinks. That's just part of the business. So you kind of need to be prepared for that. Certainly for me, it threw me off quite a lot. I made quite a lot of mistakes because I was playing the wrong song at the wrong time. So that's something to be aware of. You want to be not just practice your fixed set, but maybe practice an extended one as well, just so you're ready and you can do that on the fly. It can throw you off your game a little bit. Something else I want to talk about is merch. So merch is a huge part of the band experience. So a lot of bands really rely on merch sales to, stay afloat. But it's cool. It's interesting to see the different approach from different bands. As you can see here at Kaias, we have gone for very much a natural Pacific Northwest look, and you can see how many cones and leaves we have strewn about the table. And actually we have some giant cones that are real crowd pleasers and conversation starters. This is very important. We need to talk about the cones, which are the mascots. So this is the original cone. Jess, you want to talk about how you came across this cone?
Yes, I purchased it from an old lady for $15.
Wow. And then this is the newest edition. This chunky golden egg of a cone. How'd you come across this one?
I purchased it yesterday for $10.
Wow. It's more things to set up. You got to also bear in mind managing cash or trying to take card payments, things like that. So there's a lot of extra stuff to think about, but it is worth it. But also it's a cool way to actually just talk to people. People tend to come up to you and they really want to talk to you about your set and everything. So it's a good way just to meet fans and yeah, try and sell some stuff. So we got home very late. Like I said, the promoter wanted to make sure the show went on late, so minimal sleep, and then it was my turn to drive to Edmonton, which was extremely flat and kind of boring compared to the Rocky Mountain drive from a couple of days before. But it was cool, about 3 hours drive, and Edmonton is another place I've never been before. But I know it gets extremely cold in the winter, but I have to say at this time of year it was beautiful. I really loved it. Again, a bit more of a chill vibe, and people were very nice there that we met. I have to say, I've heard a lot of negative things about these Albertan towns, but I had a very great experience. So we had Boneyard opening for us. Now, they were an awesome local band. I really enjoyed their stuff. Had a kind of like a classic rock feel to a lot of their songs. Still kind of some grungy, modern influence as well. Really cool vocals, really cool harmonized lead guitar parts. Definitely check them out, they were awesome as well. Now, there was a smaller turnout for this one. Apparently it wasn't like the most ideal venue, and you can see it's pretty tight. The entrance is behind you, so people are just walking by and they can just see in, which is a little strange. And yes, as you can see, there's like a narrow space for people to get in and out, and I nearly impaled a fair few amount of people with my bass, so that was interesting. But still, the people that came seemed to dig it. Right, so we're in Edmonton, and we've bumped into Adrian, who's wearing a fire shirt.
Hell yeah.
You've seen the channel, right?
I've been a fan of Dr. Tom for a year and a half, 2 years now. I have a bit of a funny story with his videos. Dr. Tom's videos, or one of his videos, was the last thing I heard before getting engaged. My now fiance and I were listening to one of his reaction videos on the way to, unbeknownst to her, getting engaged. So against my will, I will never ever forget Tom's videos.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, well, thank you for coming. You were right at the front for the whole set just now. These awesome acts in the band, Shackled to the Throne. Oh, scan the QR code. Yeah. Check out their band.
Oh, drink water.
I don't know how to do this when I'm not at home and reacting. Yeah, don't drink.
Don't drink.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you could hear the audio there, but that was quite surreal. So that was Adrian, who is the guitarist for Shackled to the Throne. He was there wearing a Kaya shirt, and he recognized me from the channel. He even came up to me with one of my videos on YouTube saying, hey, I was just listening to this right before I got engaged. So that was quite surreal. So yes, definitely go check out Shackled to the Throne from Edmonton. They're an awesome band. I'm definitely going to try and catch them live the first chance I get. Once again, Tribunal absolutely killing it. But yeah, for us it was smaller. That is something you got to kind of deal with, is doing a long drive and then playing in front of a small amount of people. It's part of the process when you're an up-and-coming artist, and it doesn't make a difference if it's 5 people or 5,000. You've got to give the same performance and give your all. Now, the next day was pretty challenging. We had about 4 hours sleep, I'd say. We had to set off early because we had to make our way back to Kamloops, which was a 9-hour drive, and do a show the same day. So it was challenging. Much McDonald's and Red Bull were consumed, but it was great because we got to go through the Rocky Mountains again, and it's just mesmerizing. Some of these sites definitely make the drive a lot easier, as I said before. It's an absolutely gorgeous part of the world. It's so stunning. Again, the videos don't do justice, so highly recommend. If you get a chance, go to this part of the world, it's breathtaking. Another aspect of the tour is dealing with promoters and different organizers and having to do a lot of the work yourself. Again, you have to be ready to wear a lot of hats when you're an independent band. And yeah, you'll find some promoters are better than others or like to do a lot more of the legwork yourself. In this particular tour, like some dates were getting changed very last minute. We had no idea if anyone was going to come to this Kamloops gig because it was changed so late, and it's like not a real, it's like a theatre, but it was actually a pretty cool venue, decent sized stage, good amount of space, some good lights and sound system. Oh, and yes, this is Devon, who's, we're all losing our mind at this point.
Wow, that was beautiful. End scene.
So then we had Torsion, who are a local Kamloops band, and they absolutely ripped it up. Young lads, awesome guys, they were so good. I absolutely love them. I should probably give a flashing light warning, because it's like pitch black other than the stage lights they had on, so it was, yeah, quite trippy and intense in there. But these guys were heavy as hell, really tight, really enjoyed them. And they're young guys, so keep an eye on them. I see big things in their future. Now again, this angle doesn't really do justice. There was quite a good amount of people in there. We were really unsure if anyone was going to come to this, but it was actually a pretty decent turnout. And yeah, a lot of the younger folks were at the front and ready to mosh, which always makes you very happy. It's a great feeling. This was our last night with Tribunal. I have to say, I enjoyed their stuff more and more each time. I really got more and more into their songs. The lighting looked great here. With the candles that they set up and everything, it looked really cool in person, so this was a great show to end things off with them. And they're a great bunch of people, all of them, and I really enjoyed touring with them. Go check them out if you haven't already. Tribunal and Kai's tour of Western Canada! And we're very lucky to have some of the band's family put us up for the night. Look at all this hospitality, cookies and water and doggies. We were very spoiled actually for our short visit there. It was just what we needed. So that was the last part of the tour with Tribunal, and then it's about 4 hours driving back. Yeah, you can see the devastation of the forest fires. It's quite crazy to see. Yeah, you quite often see smoke right next to you as you're driving by, and helicopters trying to put it out. It's yeah, it's quite something to witness. But yeah, we were pretty exhausted at this point. I can only imagine how professional bands feel doing like world tours. I mean, I'm sure they have a lot more resources and luxuries. But when you're doing it all yourself, even doing like 6 nights or so is quite the challenge. So yeah, I was glad to be back in Vancouver. Had a brief break, and then was time for the big show at the Rickshaw, one of my favorite venues. It's where a lot of the metal bands will come to Vancouver. And yeah, it was cool to, again, be on the other side of things, show up super early, get the merch set up. Something else to consider is if there is time for sound checks, which quite often there isn't, you'll start with the headline band. They sound check first, and then you go in reverse order from the night. So that if you're the first band, you're the last one to sound check, all your stuff's there on stage ready. So yeah, obviously this was a huge step up, a massive caliber show. The bands we were supporting were pretty big, and people would come from far to watch them. So yeah, you can see here there was a pretty good turnout. Even though we were opening, there was quite a lot of people there already, and it was such a great experience. As you can see here, I do have a couple of bass solos in the set, which is great for my ego. But oh, this was So much fun to do bass solos on a big stage like this with lots of people, get a lot more of a reaction from everyone. Yeah, this was a super experience. The quality of the equipment, the lights, the sound and everything definitely was up a few notches. And yeah, wow, this was just such a cool experience. And then to see like a fairly big mosh pit was amazing. So the next band were Liminal Shroud. Now they're actually from Victoria, and they were an awesome black metal band. They sounded so tight and they had such a massive, massive sound to them. Thoroughly enjoyed their set. And I had to say, one of the best things about supporting more famous bands is A, you get to benefit from their larger fan base, you know, there's a lot more people there, but also it's just great to get your set out of the way immediately. When you're headlining, you're kind of nervous the whole time, but it's great to just do your set and then just have a beer and enjoy the rest of the show. And then we had Solemn Vision all the way from New York. They were touring with Bellacore. I absolutely love these guys. They were so tight, so heavy. The lead singer has got an insane range. Yeah, there was a lot going on, and some of the guitar work, incredibly technical and impressive. Also just absolutely lovely guys. We had a lot of chats with them. They were really, really cool, so definitely go check them out. And then of course, Bellacore, they were something else, unbelievably tight. Everything about their sound was just spot on, and some of these technical riffs were incredible. The band are massive, massive fans. I'm still quite new to them, admittedly, but yeah, a lot of the guys in the bands have been fans of them for years and years, so this was like a huge honor just to watch them, let alone share a stage with them. And yeah, by the time they were on, the place was packed, massive mosh pits. It was a real vibe in there, and yeah, it was awesome. We did it.
We did it.
Bring it in.
We
Bring it in.
did it.
We did it.
We finished our tour. Metal.
Home.
How are you feeling
We're
after all of that?
We feel
After all
great.
that.
We feel pretty good.
Fuck yeah.
I'm quite
I know
hungry.
Jess feels good.
I'm
We're all hungry. We're gonna get food now.
We're gonna go get some food.
Yeah. Bye. So yeah, that was the tour. I guess to end things off on a personal note, the tour actually coincided with my 10-year anniversary of living in Canada, and it was awesome to finally get a chance to drive through the Rockies, my first time doing that or doing any kind of extended driving, and it was beautiful, and I can't imagine 3 better people to share it with. The best part of this was making friends and having fun with everyone, as soppy as it sounds. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll leave you with us singing this wonderful song.
Rocks and trees and trees and rocks and water. All right, everyone! We've got rocks and trees and trees